This episode of the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast is sponsored by firefighterstraps.com, built by firefighters for firefighters. Be sure to visit firefighterstraps.com to see all of their hose and tool straps. Thank you for joining me on the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, AZ. I find the research and resources and then provide the fire service with the so what, now what, to ensure the health and well-being of every member of our profession. Together, let's thrive. Hey there, it's AZ. Welcome again to the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast. I'm here today once again with my friend Luke. Say hello.
Hello.
Yes, Luke was on a previous episode, and I will make sure and link that in the show notes. We were talking about his position of being the fitness coordinator at a smallish fire department, so make sure and check that out. Today, however, we are going to be talking about his invention. But before we get to it, I just want to tell you, Luke's a pretty clever guy. And so I actually wanted to invent something a couple years ago, and I thought it was genius. And I ran it by Luke, and he said he put the kibosh on it. So let me tell you about it. You know, when you're using the dishwasher, especially at the firehouse, because we tend to overload it, the dishwasher goes through the dry cycle, you open it up, and everything on the top rack is still full of water. So annoying. So when I'm at home, I make sure as soon as it starts the dry cycle, I go over, I open the dishwasher, I gently shake the top rack to get all of the water off, and then I let it go through the dry cycle, and it's perfect. So I thought a great invention would be to have the top rack shaker. And Luke said, no. Please explain to the listeners why you kiboshed my invention.
I wish I had a good reason for kiboshing your invention. At
the time, he said he was afraid the glasses would break.
I just didn't think it would integrate well into a dishwasher.
Okay, fine. He's probably right. However, it's very disappointing, and now he has an invention. So, Luke, tell me about your invention.
It started with me getting promoted. And when I got promoted to lieutenant, I like to carry a New York hook and a Halligan bar together. And there is no easy way to carry a New York hook and Halligan bar together unless you want to weld a chain link onto the New York hook so that there's a spot for the forks to sit and stuff like that. So I started to develop a strap that would go on those two tools and would hold them together securely so that for 98% of the calls you go on and you have to access a Knox box or do other duties, you didn't have to set the Halligan bar on the ground and lean the New York hook on the wall. So I wanted a strap that would keep them secure so that I could just lean them against the wall, access the Knox box keys, and go on with my business. Also, and more importantly, something that's easily removable for when you need to use the tools. So I went through 5 or 6 different versions of the strap. The first ones were not great, and eventually came up with the current strap that I have at firefighterstraps.com. So when I developed that strap, I made it for myself, and I put it on my tools. And then I had other members of my department asking, hey, where did you get that? And I said, well, I made it. And they said, will you make me one? I said, sure. So I started making them for our vehicles. So then I just put one on every one of our vehicles. And then we started working more with the neighboring fire department. And those firefighters said, where'd you get that strap? And I said, I made it. And they said, can you make us some? So I started making them for them. And then eventually they had them on all of their vehicles. And at the time, my maintenance boss, I work in our maintenance division at the fire department also. And my maintenance boss, who has had a number of businesses in his very successful life, said, if you don't get off your butt and do something with this, I'm stealing it from you. And I'm very busy, and it took me a long time to get off my butt and do something with it. But eventually, a couple years later, I finally did. And through the course of those couple years, realized that well, let me back up for a second. We started to purchase new apparatus, and we had older equipment, older tools, older appliances on our apparatus, and we finally got the go-ahead from the fire department to purchase new tools and equipment as we purchased new vehicles. So I was tasked with that, and we had some very old homemade straps on our nozzles. We had some very old homemade straps on our hose. And I'm sure, as many of you have on your fire vehicles, seat belts that were cut out of vehicles you were extricating on, and you took home to your wife and she sewed up straps that you wanted. So they were very old. The Velcro was shot, and I was searching for these other straps, one of them being a bail strap to keep a bail in the open position if you have an 1 3/4 hose attached to the other end of that nozzle, the play pipe, and you are advancing into a home with that or into a building with that. The 2.5-inch bail gets knocked shut on occasion, and so that bail strap keeps that bail secure in the open position. Well, in searching for those straps, I found none. So I said, well, I can make that. So I made a bail strap, which many other firefighters have made in the past, but nobody sells it. So now somebody sells it. So I have the bail strap. And then I started looking at hose straps. And there are a few companies that make hose straps, but not a huge variety of straps for different hose bundles. So I started developing different hose straps. And as I was traveling from fire department to fire department, I realized the different needs for different sizes of hose straps. And a funny story, my dad actually, when I first started the business and had 7 or 8 straps, purchased every single strap that I made, but he lives in California. So he said, I'm just going to go donate them to a local fire department, and hopefully they'll like some of them. Well, I happened to be traveling out there a couple weeks later, and he said, well, I still have the box of straps because I really don't know what they are. So why don't you just take them to the fire department? So Carlsbad Fire Department, I met with a very nice captain there, and they were very intrigued about the straps, but nothing that I had worked for them. So fast forward to today, there are now 3 more straps on my website that are all attributed to Carlsbad Fire Department. 2 of them being hose straps, and 1 of them being a gated Y strap. So the gate valve, a lot of departments off the rear of their vehicles, they will use a gate valve that, or a gated Y off the back of their vehicle and attach 1 3/4 hose to it. And that can result in the same issue as running a nozzle with 1 3/4 on the tip of it, where it's being drug around in the front yard and one of the gates gets closed, and then you cut off water supply to interior attack crews. So while I was out there, they said, well, we don't use the inline bail, we use a gated Y. Can you make something to secure that in the open position? And so that developed
Of course I can, in my free time.
And then moving forward from there, we purchased a new tower, and when we bought that new truck, we purchased new and our first sets of battery-powered extrication tools, which are awesome. But in doing the demos or watching the demos from every single manufacturer, none of them had any sort of carrying strap for the tools. So they are roughly 50 pounds, some of them. They range from 40 to 60. And if you're carrying them for any distance, like on the highway or over rough terrain, they're heavy tools. So I said, well, how does nobody make a strap for this? So I made a strap for that. And and then in going to other fire departments, there are different manufacturers of tools, but now I've found that there's a couple different sizes of tools, and I was able to make 2 different straps for the majority of battery-powered extrication tools. So now we have those that nobody else has as well. So it has really kind of progressed from me getting out to fire departments, meeting with fire departments, seeing what their needs are, and then developing straps for them that they want or they need, or for me personally at our fire department, developing straps for our equipment that we purchase new, and just trying to make it a little bit safer. The safety portion comes in with the bail strap, obviously, and the gated Y strap, not cutting off water supply to interior attack crews, but also for a more ergonomic way of carrying or holding a tool if you're having to do it for a while. So trying to help us be more efficient when we're on the scene. But I'm continuing to grow the product line, and we started with probably 7 or 8 straps. Well, it started with one. It started with the New York Cook Halligan strap, and then it progressed as I met with other people or started purchasing equipment for our fire department, and now up to 20 straps. So, and we're just continuing to develop straps for different equipment that we see.
I'm picturing you in your basement with your 3 children and Heather and sewing machines. This is not how it works, right?
This is not how it works. One of the most important things to me was that the products be made in the USA. So I could have gone overseas and tried to have them manufactured for much cheaper than they are. But I have a local sewing company that sews all the straps, and they've sewn straps for over 30 years for different applications, for hauling cargo, for semi-trucks, ratchet straps, things like that. So they do a great job. We started our relationship with them about 2 years ago, and they manufacture all of our straps, and it's been a really good relationship so far. So made in the USA was huge, and I wanted to make sure I kept it here, and that's where it's at right now.
I love it. And I'm hearing to some extent you can do these custom, but it sounds like you have enough straps now that you may not have to do custom anymore. What do you think?
So custom is challenging. Custom from the standpoint of a strap that we don't currently have that I'm willing to make, yes. One of the challenges has been going to fire departments that have high-rise packs that are different or skid loads that are different and bundled different, and they want them all sewn together with certain lengths, and so that they don't lose one strap if they take the bundle apart. And I've done some of that, but that's challenging because the manufacturer that I use is they will run 50 straps at a time, and they don't have the time or the resources to make custom straps for me. So in that event that I do sew up a custom strap, it's very time consuming for me, and then I have to take it to a local person that I have sew custom straps for me. So I'm more than willing to talk to anybody about any strap that they would like. Some of the extremely custom stuff can be challenging. I'm willing to talk and try to figure something out for you with anything. But I'm always willing to listen and try to figure out a product that'll work for any department's needs. So,
burning question: do they come in pink?
They do not come in pink.
Oh, you just lost a sale, Luke.
I know.
All right, I think I know the answer to this, but tell the people, what are your challenges with being a business owner and a firefighter and a baseball coach and a good dad?
And a mechanic.
What are your challenges?
You just said it. Time is my challenge. So I need to clone myself, and then I need to have like a dad me, and then I need to have a work me, but I don't have that. So time is a challenge. I try to balance it the best that I can. But that's by far the biggest hurdle and the biggest challenge for me.
So you're having a good experience, though. So would you recommend entrepreneurship to other firefighters?
Yeah, it's something that was definitely outside of my comfort zone. I am super conservative with everything I do. And so for me to take a leap into business ownership, which I had no desire to do, was huge for me and challenging for me mentally to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to jump in. And to this point, I still find myself holding holding back with certain things just because I'm so conservative with everything. But it's been a great experience. I do have two partners in the business. One is a good friend of mine, and one is my father-in-law, who coincidentally retired 2 years ago, right as I was getting things rolling with the business. So I do have that support. Without those two individuals in the business with me, there's no way it would be anywhere near where it is right now. So I would encourage anybody that has an idea or that has a business concept as a firefighter to go for it. It's eventually maybe something that you do on your off days and maybe sacrifice a second job that you have right now. But if it's something you're passionate about, might as well do something you love on your off days.
Absolutely. And I always think of it this way. Even if you're questioning yourself, there's definitely someone out there with less skills, less ability that's already doing something like what you're doing. So I would say go for it. Also, is your father-in-law available for hire? I definitely need some help too.
He is not.
Doggone it. Such a nice guy too. All right. Well, let's wind up for today and let's tell everyone, how would you see a strap, order a strap, get a demo? Where can the people go?
Everything is available at firefighterstraps.com. Very simple, very common spelling.
No spaces, no underscores.
Yep, just firefighterstraps.com. You can go on there. There is a link on there to email me if you have any questions, and that'll come directly to me. My phone number is also on the website. If you have questions, you can feel free to give me a call, and that's my cell phone number. So if you need anything, if you have any questions about any of the straps, I tried to do my best with the descriptions on the website as far as measuring hose bundles to make sure you're getting the right straps for people that aren't as local and I can't visit. We have two different versions of the bail strap, so measuring the distance from your bail to the coupling and making sure you're getting the right strap for that. But if there's any question as to where your measurements need to be taken or any of the straps that we have, or anything that you have a need for that we don't currently have, I'd be more than happy to try to make something work for you.
Also, Luke forgot, he's on Instagram. We're working on upping his Instagram game, but look for him on Instagram. All right. Do you want to leave them with anything, Luke? Or
No,
you said it all.
I thank you guys for listening, and thank you for your time in that. I appreciate you taking the time to put this together for me because, as you know, I'm not the most social media savvy person. So Annette is helping me along with some of that, as you can see here on this podcast. But I appreciate the time.
Well, and Luke he has so much to offer, and he just is so busy, and sometimes he forgets to self-promote. So I am super happy to have him here today. For now, this has been AZ and Luke on the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast, and you all have a wonderful day.